Welcome back, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play World of Warcraft, the Midnight Expansion. And depending on where you watch this, I'm either some noob with CE, or I'm Retro Gaming Vet. We are currently going to learn some things in this game to help you become a better player or to learn basics that you may not have a good grasp on. So without further ado, we're going to go over what happened last video. In our last video, we completed the Exile's Reach. We completed the tutorial, and we ended up going to the Dragon Isles with Calicos to try to get us started in the Dragon Isles. I don't want to do the Dragon Isles because the Dragon Isles has a lot of things that are more advanced than the basic game that you, as a player, will learn. You can choose to go to the Dragon Isle. It is actually your choice. You can actually do any expansion you want, as long as you go to Chromie. But we'll get to that in a minute. For the first thing we're going to learn today is we're going to set up our bars. Now that we're out of Exile's Reach, we actually have the ability to create our own UI how we want it. A UI means user interface. The user interface is what you see right here. All these bars and buttons, these buttons, and this picture here, as well as this over here, are user interface. We have the ability to move all of this and to set it up what is comfortable for us. As I am a survival hunter, I'm needing to be more focused on the things that are in front of me and the things that we're attacking. So with that said, let's get into it. So we're going to go over to our character's portrait. And we're going to right click on it, and we're going to Other Options, Edit Mode. This will open up this big scary thing that you see right here. If I click all of this off, you'll see that all of it suddenly goes away, and it shows only the basic things right here. We want to make sure that our character's portrait is fairly large. Since I have a hard time seeing things, I want to make it so it's actually where my character is going to be standing. This is where my character is on my screen. This is where my pet is on my screen. So to better know what I'm fighting against, I might want to move it over here, or right here, so it's a little off center of my character. I can turn off the grid, and I can turn on the grid by clicking these buttons here. I can do snap to elements or turn that off so it doesn't snap to the elements. I can turn on advanced options, or I can turn it off. We're going to leave all that on. Now, what I've done here is make this a little bigger, or put it in the position I want. We want that to be slightly bigger. So I come over here to frame size. I can make this as big as I want, or back to normal size. I prefer it to be about 125. That way it's fairly good sized, but it's not too big to be obnoxious on my screen, and it's not too big to take up too much space. Now the next thing I need to do is worry about my pet's frame. My pet will be tanking for me, and I need to know when my pet is taking damage. Again, I play on a larger monitor, so my screen may differ from yours. So I'm going to make my pet's frame about 125%. This will leave my cast bar above me, and it'll also make my pet's frame front and center so I can see it. I want to see what I'm fighting now. But first, we're going to save this. We're going to make a new layout. This is going to be a character specific layout, and we're going to call this one, for me, I'm going to call it Survival Hunter. You can name it anything you want. It can be named after your character, or it can be named after your class. As I'm a survival hunter, I want to make it so I can easily pick it out of this layout bar over here. So we're going to save this, and we're going to, on my case, make this character specific. That means that as long as this is checked, this layout will only apply to this character, and no other characters will see it. However, if I wanted to allow this layout to be available for all my characters, I could easily turn character specific layout off and then save it, and it would actually be available in the layout for all my characters. I don't want that, so we're going to make this specific, and we're going to save it. Now you see that the layout is here under LNSA specific Survival Hunter. Now let's worry about our targets. In order to bring up a targeting frame, I'm going to press F1. This will bring up myself in the targeting box down here. Much like all my other characters, much like this frame here, I want this to be big and in chart right in front of me. So I'm going to move this to right here. This will allow me to see it in front of me and also see what I'm attacking and how much health it's got. Now, again, I want it to be something that's big and obnoxious to me, but not too obnoxious. So we're going to make it 125 size. This will tell me exactly how much health this has got, and I can't miss it. So, again, we're going to move this box down, and we're going to go and save this change. Next, we're going to close this out by pressing this X. This will close it, and it will show me what I've got so far. We're going to go to our character, and we're going to press Enter / which is also the question mark button. We're going to type in reload and space, and then type UI. What this is going to do is this is going to force your UI to reset. Therefore, when I hit it, it will start reloading my UI. And just like that, we're back. And as you can see, all my things are where I left them. However, we can now see that this is a little bit too big. Furthermore, this will actually stay exactly how I want it. So, we're going to move this down a little bit by doing the same thing we did before. We'll go to Edit. We're going to click here. I'm going to make this about 120. That way, it doesn't clip over this frame, but it's also big enough that I can see it. This, we're going to make 120%. Again, not to make it too big, but not too small either. We're going to save this. We're going to hit X again. And now, that looks just fine. It's not clipping here, and this is not in a weird place where I won't be able to see it. I can test this and see how it works by clicking that, and as you can see, works just fine. The next thing we want to do is we want to go to our options and change nameplates. So we go to Escape, Options, and we'll go to the search bar, and we're going to type in name. In the nameplates, you'll see that you have a lot of options. You can make it so you see My Names, Always Show Nameplates, Edit Unit Nameplates, Friendly Player Nameplates, Friendly NPC Nameplates, Show Off-Screen Nameplates, Stack Nameplates, Size of the Nameplates, Debuff and Buff Scale, Clean Style, Nameplate Information, Cast Bar Information, and a slew of other things that are going to be available to you. So for me, I'm going to make it so my nameplates are always on, which they are. They will always stay on. This means my nameplates for my enemies will always be on no matter what I do. I won't see their names. Instead, it will show me the nameplates. This is very useful if I want to see if something is hostile. And like if I click on this owl, you can see the bar is yellow. This means that this enemy is neutral to me and will not attack. Now I can stack nameplates if I wanted to, but again, that's just too much clutter for my screen. We can change the size and the style, and I want to make everything clean health. It means I'll see clean health bars. Everything will be just fine. See there? Perfect. Rarity icon, we'll leave that on. We won't see health value or health percentages because I don't really care because it's all right there that I need to see. So next, we want to go to audio. We want to make sure that error speech is turned on. For a new player, this actually should be on already. If it's not, you want to make sure it's turned on. Error speech is when your character will be telling you things like, this target is out of range, this target is too far away, or this ability is not ready yet. These things are all very important bits of information that you need to know as a player because they will affect you fighting or, in some cases, surviving against certain enemies or in certain conditions. So you want to make sure that's on all the time. Now, next, we'll go to gameplay enhancements. Gameplay enhancements are very useful for a new player. I strongly recommend you choose assisted highlights. Assisted highlights is an ability for this game that will show you what ability the game thinks you should use next, depending on what is on your bars. Yeah, as you can see, it is showing Hatchet Toss for me right now. Hatchet Toss is what it recommends as my next ability. We're also going to clean up our bars a little bit. And in order to do that, we're going to actually use what I call a second or scrolled button. Scrolled buttons are buttons that I use, but only in defensive or rare situations. So we're going to move these to the second bar. How did I get here? Very easy. Let's go back to Options, and let's go to Keybinds. Key bindings. Now, we want to go to Action Bar and scroll down until you see Action Page. Action pages are what you see here. This is Action Page 1. Shift and number 2 brings up Action Page 2. Shift 3, 4, 5, and 6 bring up Action Pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm putting these buttons here on Action Page 2 since I use them, but not enough for them to be extremely valuable to me. So I'll keep them out of mind, out of sight. Now, I have also this account also has its own hotkeys and setups already done. However, something else as a survival hunter you'll need to do is set up your pet's bar. In order to do this, we're going to go to Talent and Spellbook. We're going to go to Spellbook, bottom tab, right side. Press it, and on the top you'll see Hunter, General, and Pet. You want to click Pet. This will bring up your pet's action bar. We're going to move Growl down, as it's already there on mine. I won't do it again. We want to move its main ability, and we want to move Dash. Now, our pet's action bar is set up. Of course, I want to move this to defensive because I always set my pets to defensive. Now, we'll need to get a mount. If you started the game and you went through the tutorial, you'll automatically have a flying mount. So, you want to make sure that that mount is on your bar, which it always needs to be. That way you can easily grab it when you need. I have been playing for a while, so I have mounts which are different from yours, or they may be the same if you've been playing as long as I have. This mount is my Night Saber, and I have it on my bar. For the record, and for all future running movement and playing in this game, I will not use a flying mount. This is for simplicity's sake, so you as the player can keep up with me. We will also be running around on a ground mount. That way we can experience the game instead of flying between objectives. Always make sure you have a mount on your hotbar or somewhere where you can get to it. That way, if you need to get up and move quickly, you can quick click your mount and off you go. Important abilities need to be on your hotbar in various places, and unfortunately, the game does not give us enough hotbars. So, how do we fix that? We go to our action bars and we can activate more bars. This allows you to take certain abilities, such as your pet utility button, your pet button, as well as the things that you now have on your bar from Dragonflight, thank you Dragonflight, and put them over here. These will not be used in any of the expansions we have. However, it's good to have them on the bar for the future. Also, we are using the pet utility button. This will be useful in the future, so we might want to hold on to that. Also, we have our pets. Any pets that you want to keep, you want to have them here. For the record, and for any hunters who are currently watching this, I strongly recommend you keep 2 pets on you at all times. You keep one pet that will be your tenacity pet, and another pet that will actually be your DPS and dungeon pet. This will allow you to have 2 pets for different situations. One for soloing, and one for when you're in dungeons. Each one of them will have a different role, and each one of them will have a use. So, we want to make sure we have those taken care of. Now, again, I'm slightly blind, so we want to make sure our chat bar is much bigger. So we want to scroll it over, and we also want to make it slightly bigger. So let's go ahead and make sure this is down here on the bar. Again, you're not going to worry about that. We're going to ignore that, and we're going to save this. Now, my bar is much bigger, and we don't have to worry about missing any information. However, what if I wanted to see the text to be bigger? That's fine too. We can go over here to the General tab, and we can right-click on it, and we can go to Font Size. And we can set the font size to 20. Then we hit Enter / say and type test. This will show how big the text is in your chat. That way you know if it's big, too small. This is just right for me, and it allows me to see it and not have it fill my screen completely. Add-ons that you have will also appear in this area. For my situation, I have an add-on called Autobar. We won't be focusing too much on this, and I won't recommend that you get it because it's just another add-on. And add-ons should be something that you, the player, should choose to use when and if you decide to use them. However, this is the time when you want to set up your bars, and you want to make sure everything is working as you see fit. We'll actually move some of these bars around in time, and I'll set this bar up how I want it. But you should actually go to your bar and set it up how you want it. In my case, I don't like excess buttons being around. So I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm going to go to each one of these bars, and I'm going to take Always Show Buttons, and I'm going to turn it off. This way, any empty buttons which are on my bar will go away. I'm also going to hide the bar art, and I'm going to hide the bar scrolling. They will save it, close both of these. I'll ignore this. And now you can see my bar is very clean, and the buttons are set up where I can get to them. As I've been requested, this video will only be going on for another 10 minutes. So I'm going to make sure that we cover everything we need in that 10 minutes. So, this has all been set up, and I'm quite pleased how this is set up. But I like for my mount to be right here so I can easily click on it. So we're going to reload UI so I stop getting that stupid error. And then we're going to set up my extra box on a number that I normally don't use, bar number 8. We're going to make that a 6 length bar, and we're going to make it very big. This way the bar is where I can get to it, and it's also not a bar that's normally used. So how do we do that? We're going to hit escape and bring up our game menu. We're going to hit options. We're going to go to action bars. We're going to check action bar number 8. This will create a new bar on your screen. Now we go to right click our name, edit, and we'll move this out of the way. I for sure know I always want this bar to not have the buttons being shown. So we're going to check that off again. We're going to make 2 rows. And we're going to make this down to 6 icons. We're going to scale it to 200%. And I'm going to move this to here. I'm also going to move this focus frame somewhere where I can keep up with it. We'll get into focus frames later. But for now, it's not something you really need to worry about. Since I know I'm only going to be using one button on this, I'm going to leave that right where it's at. I'm also going to move this mini-map button over here as I'm using an add-on for my mini-map. I don't really need to see that, so I'm going to move the objective tracker up here. This will allow my quest to start from the top right-hand corner and move down. To ensure that this does not overlap my map, we're going to trim the height to where it's no longer overlapping the map. Perfect. That works just fine. So 690 is the perfect size for that. Now, I like to have my HUD or my tooltip be where I can see it somewhere up here. Right now, as you can see, it's down in the bottom right. I don't really like that. So let's scroll down until we see our heads-up display or HUD tooltip. I'm going to grab this and bring it over here. That way, when I scroll over something, as you can see, it shows beside that character's name. Now, I'm going to save this, and we're going to look at it again. As I scroll over my name, the HUD tooltip pops up. As I move my character here, perfect. It's right where I want it to be. If I scroll over anything in here, the HUD tooltip shows up in a great spot. Now, I'm going to move my mount so it's over here. I'm not worried about it overlapping my map because I'm only going to use 2 buttons off of this. Everything else can pretty much just be empty. I only want to put a mount here for my ground mount, and we're also going to choose a flying mount. And I already know I want my beautiful, long forgotten hippogriff to be my flying mount. So we'll put that right there. Perfect. That's actually perfect. My text is over here where I can see it. My bars are set up in a way that I am feeling comfortable with them, and everything is where it needs to be. I don't have excess buttons in places I don't need them, and everything is available and right where I can see it, so I don't have to do too much scrolling and looking around to find things. My mounts are in a good spot where I can easily pan over and click one of them, and they'll be available, and I can mount up very quickly. My target's in a good spot, and I like where it's at on the screen. So as I'm fighting, I can easily move my eyes to the right and see that the character here that I'm fighting has these buffs as well as this health. I want to go ahead and test my cast bar. That's fine. Right there is just fine. That I don't mind about. I might want to move it later because I use an add-on called Auto Bar, and Auto Bar is moving things right there, and it'll expand out this way. But for now, that's just fine. That's just perfect. So, what else can we do? Well, we want to worry about keybinds. What are keybinds? Keybinds are buttons that you press in order to do abilities. My keybinds have been refined over the years, and I know exactly what keybinds are where they are. I want to make sure that I'm using keybinds for buttons that are always being used. I don't want to waste key space since I don't have a lot of binds. So I had to make some sacrifices and I had to rebind some other things. To pull my weapons out or sheath them, I now have to press Shift Z. That's because I use Z for feign death. For my other abilities, I use things like Shift R, but I don't change out R. So that means I'll never be able to really reply to anybody, but that's okay because I use an add-on for that. My F key and my G key have been rebound to do certain abilities. And my T key, which you can't see because I don't have an ability on it, has been rebound as well. Z is rebound, and I mainly use Alt 1, 2, and 3 for more abilities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are my primary abilities that I use. So everything feels comfortable where I've got it, and I feel like everything is where it needs to be. No waste, and it's not overly cluttered. So, what do we do now? Well, I just got Mist, and Mist is a really good cat, but I need to make sure Mist is tenacity. So we're going to get on my hippogriff so I don't fall off and kill myself off of this roof, because that would be very embarrassing. And we're going to fly down, and we're going to look for this horseshoe, which is a hunter trainer, which is a stable master. Stable masters are a hunter person or a hunter NPC that is used if you want to reclassify your pets or store your pets or even change the name of your pet. We're just going to make sure that Mist is tenacity, because if you remember I said tenacity is your tanking pet. This is the pet that will be holding all the aggro, and you'll be keeping him alive as he keeps the attention of the thing that you're trying to kill. So in order to do that, we're going to click on Seriadine. We're going to go to I'd like to stable my pet here. But we're actually not going to stable our pet. What we're going to do is we're going to look here and make sure, yep, there's Mist. We're going to come up here, change it from ferocity to tenacity. Now, Mist has changed his bars, and I'll have to set them up again. But you'll notice he unlearned Predator's Thirst, and he learned Endurance Training and Fortitude of the Bear, which are tenacity abilities.
Very well.
Now, in order to get him set up correctly, we are going to have to go back to Pet. We're going to set up his bar again. Perfect. I have Taunt, which is his growl ability. We have his damaging ability, which is Claw. And we have Dash. So he is all set to do what needs to be done to keep me alive so we can continue adventuring. Another ability you want to keep in mind is the Recuperate ability. This should always be on your bar because it takes the place of food and it allows you to not really have to worry about food. Recuperate restores 50% of your maximum health over 10 seconds, and it's a channeled ability. As when I click it, my character throws down a fireplace, channels, and prepares a quick meal. And during this time, I heal. This is not a cooking fire, and we shouldn't get that confused with a cooking fire. Coincidentally, we're going to talk about cooking fires and other trade skills next. That way you too can get into World of Warcraft and start doing the things that you want to do and the trade skills that are available to you. For now, we're going to cut this video short. And again, my mother has requested that these videos be 30 minutes long. As I do love her very much, and these videos were specifically made for her, we're going to cut this video short at the 30-minute mark. So, let's go back over what we learned today. Today we learned how to make our UI something we're more comfortable with, and how to set it up and our key bindings on our character. We also set up our pet bar and made sure everything was comfortable where we felt good about playing with it. So, that's all the time we really have for this episode. I want you to tune in next time, as we're going to learn all about the basic trade skills that you, as a player, can get at level 10. If you did enjoy this, consider leaving a like and a subscribe on this video on YouTube. Next video, we'll do those trade skills, and then we'll see what happens. Until then, I'm somebody with CE, or Retro Gaming Vet, depending on where you're watching this, and I'll see you next time. Take care, and stay safe.